Oversight Committee report, which has been projected here up on the screen. With that passage of that bond measure comes compliance requirements, and they are required to have this bond oversight committee to report annually to the board and have it approved, being that the taxpayers and voters approved this bond measure, and we're committed to ensuring that that COS spends the money in accordance with what the voters approved that bond measure to be, which is out there at campus. So tonight, just to speak a little bit as to what our goals are and our duties are on this oversight committee, we're here to inform the public that who voted for this measure of the expenditures of the bond proceeds. We look at these bond expenditures. They present the information to us quarterly. We have several meetings a year that we go through these quarterly reports, look at what the dollars have been spent on, and also make sure you're aware that they have been spending the money in accordance with that bond measure, and that no funds have been expended on any type of administrative costs or salaries. That is not allowed. So as I mentioned, the bond measure provided a little over almost $22 million, with of course the district going to have to contribute quite a bit to match that, which they're committed to doing that. As of June 30th, they've expended the bond proceeds a little over 85% of that money. When I was here last year, most of the money had just been spent on architectural, consulting, design fees. When we met here in September, and after we've gotten through the third I was surprised at how large this expansion actually is and what it's going to do for the community and our students here. So we're presenting this annual report to the board so they can take action on that. The bond also gets audited, and they are probably wrapping that up here pretty quick for the June 30th, 2023 fiscal year, or starting on that. We've never had any findings with regards to the actual audit report, so that's always something that. So that's pretty much what we're here to do and present. We don't have any. We'll be back. So I think there was some diagrams as to what's going on out there. I will answer any questions that you might have. If you have any additional questions with regards to any of the photos you might be seeing over there, Dean Byron Woods will be happy to answer those. I can see there's a lot of dollars being spent on a CPA, and there's a lot of dollars out there. But it's been on track. There's not been any delay, according to Byron. Company's been great to work with, and they're moving along. So,
question.
That concludes my presentation. Yes.
I see you have a vacancy in the Bonafide Taxpayer Association. Is that a problem?
It's not a problem, as long as they're actively looking, and there hasn't been anyone that's been available or to be able to fill that position. But it is. I asked that question at the meetings as well, and there is no problem with that.
I thought it was because we didn't have any bona fide taxpayers. So Marla, I think you said that we had expended 80-some% of the funds. Did you say that? Is that of the bond funds or the total? Because the page and I know there's a simple answer to this, says that the project is 15% complete, and maybe Byron can, and yet we've spent 85% of the funds, or we're not gonna run
On the
out?
bond side.
Just the bond side of the funds, so,
So of it,
and our funds will come in.
Because there's a deadline, we only
Okay.
have 85% within 3 years of when the bond.
Yeah, okay, perfect, that makes sense.
and I was even asking at the meeting what our goal continued to be once the bond funds were expended, because
Right.
at June, the project budget was 22.7 million, and as of June 30th, we'd expended 21.6.
If you've got 21 million you already spent, what, it doesn't look like we got $21 million worth of work
Some
done.
of it's expended, some of it's encumbered, which means you're gonna.
Any other questions?
Okay, we need a motion?
Yeah,
I
we
move
do.
for approval, thank you for the great report.
Second. Great job.
Thanks, Marla.
By trustee Nunes to accept the fiscal year 22-23 activity report from Measure J Bond Citizens Advisory Committee. Is there a second?
Seconded by Raymond.
Raymond.
already.
Thank you. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? No. And no abstentions. So it passes unanimously. Thank you. And we appreciate the work of yourself and the committee. Thank you so much. Back to the regular agenda. We have a student trustee report, and I think we have the
Oh, yes.
pleasure.
Chloe Frank stepping in to rescue us. Maddie couldn't join us tonight. Thank you for being here, Chloe.
No problem. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name Avenue Cafe and Coffee Shop sold over, or not sold, it was free, of course, over 150 pumpkin spice latte samples were given out to the students, lucky campers. They also added music, arranged furniture to create an inviting environment for the students. Definitely have to check that one out. They have a midterm after party coming up Wednesday on the 18th from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. Foods, drinks, vendors, lawn games, music, movies, and the volunteers from Hamburg High School and Sierra Pacific, Kings County Explorer Programs, and Sousa Valley Real Estate, Albino Dentistry, Valley Animal Heaven, KCAO Crisis Services. Having some vendors out there is going to be really nice. I'm definitely going to show out to that event as well. They're going to have taco trucks, off-the-road pizzas, the sweet stand, Trailholics, bombshell beans and coffee, all kind of stuff's out there. It's going to be pretty cool. Boxes per month to support Giant Pantry services. Staff will enjoy to serve at the Tulare Fair, helping with livestock. Third, animal science students brought home silver breeding and showman, what do you call it? Can I say that?
You did.
All the animals, I thought that was super cool. I definitely want to get to that. That was super cool. So there we go.
Put you on the livestock team.
Right. That was nice. COS was a silver sponsor for September 28th, Tulare King's Trades Day. COS had booths for construction, welding, industrial maintenance, and other CTE programs. The students were engaged and ready to learn more about the various career opportunities. Hot dogs were served. I had me like a good four. Cookies and drinks as well, all for free, just with the COS ID. Really cool event. It was nice to give students food. I know we really all appreciated it. 100 students registered to vote, which was really nice. I registered last year, but I don't know if I can do that again. We were never. 100 coffee constitutions were handed out, these little cute books. Lastly, our upcoming event, October 31st, we're hosting our Halloween event. I think Sheila has to take on that one, but it's gonna be super cool. It's gonna be a food drive benefit as well, COS Basic to the COS Basic Needs Center. It's gonna be music, food, a costume contest, a dunk tank that I think President
I don't think I fit.
They're building
No,
it just for you.
We tested it. I don't fit anymore. I've gained a lot of weight since the last time I was in that dunk contest, Chloe.
I want to see that dunk tank.
So come out and support, but that's.
Great job, Chloe. All right.
Any questions on the report?
Chloe, tell us where you went to high school.
I went to high school well, I'm a military family, so we move a lot. I went to a few high schools. But recently I'm from Livermore High School. I graduated from Livermore High. But I came from Oak Harbor, Washington, Westbury High School in Texas. It was a lot of high schools.
Wow.
I've been through a lot over the years.
And Chloe, you went on our HBCU trip
I
last
did.
year
It
in
was
North
a
Carolina.
Wonderful trip. I've traveled a lot, but I've never been to HBCU. Never even heard of it. I knew there were like black, schools out there for students, but, getting to experience that, staying overnight, really seeing what it's all about, talking to coaches, getting connections. It was a really cool experience. Definitely want to go again, but I'm going to let someone else go. But it was really nice. Really nice.
Thank you for being the leader.
Hey, I think
you
that's
are.
on our agenda today.
Yay.
Good.
Next up is board member reports.
No report.
Had the privilege to attend the ACCJC training session, I guess is what you would call it, on Friday for a couple of hours. A lot of great information, and I believe the lady was Dr. Webb that presented it, and she had a lot of nice things to say about us. And the work that all of you are endeavoring to do and doing a great job at. And I gather that it's a new and improved ACCJC, and we're all glad about that. So that's.
I made a list if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
So first I'd like to acknowledge and thank the Library and Resource Center staff for their wonderful celebration of Latino Heritage Month. In the COS library, there was over 100 books displayed by authors and illustrators of Latino descent. So it was really nice to walk in, see the decorations and all the books that were present there. So I just wanted to thank the staff. I also would like to acknowledge the EOPS program on a successful 37th annual COS Multicultural Fair on September 28th. It was wonderful to see the different cultures being displayed. I learned a little bit more about the Hmong culture and some of their dances, as well as tried some food from Ethiopia, I think. And last Friday, I attended also the the accreditation training hosted by the ACCJC. What I appreciated about that session was really the conversations that were taking place, kind of putting at the forefront the why, being the students, why we want to be accredited and why we want to keep improving. I'm very excited about this weekend. I've enjoyed the marketing that's taking place for COS football versus Fresno City. And even the tailgate activities seem really exciting. And on the social media campaigns, you have Dr. Calvin inviting everyone to the event. That's fun. And then he also mentions the halftime show, I guess, from our COS dance team and cheerleaders. And if you look closely, you'll actually see a little 5-year-old girl who's going to be participating. My daughter's going to be part of the dance team, and so that's going to be fun. She's going to be participating in a 2-hour clinic prior to that, so that's exciting. This week, I'm looking forward to the event that's taking place to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day on Thursday at the Quad, and my goal is to stop by the booth of the newly formed Native Students Club. And then on a final note, later in the month, I look forward to seeing and attending the Giant Marketplace ribbon cutting on October 25th. I've been looking forward to that quite a bit, so it's exciting.
So much for my president's report. Talk about stealing thunder. Great job, Raymond.
No report. But I did want to add, Ken, I think your granddaughter's also, is she competing in the dance? I've been seeing her picture.
Yeah, she may be. I
think she might be. I've seen her quite a bit on the social
They're keeping it a
media.
secret from me, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing Raymond's daughter, Hema, grow up in front of our very eyes. 'Cause when he
Newborn.
assumed this, well, yeah, she was a newborn.
I remember.
And now she's 5 years old in
Now she's
kindergarten.
5. But all the
Great.
social media stuff has really been great, and with all the pictures of the little ones. And it's funny because you're like, wait, I think, and you zoom in, and sure enough, but great social media marketing stuff going on with COS. I hear about it at least 2 or 3 days a week. So who does your marketing? So all of you out there that have contributed, it's awesome.
Nothing to add from what's already been covered. Next up is Mr. Foster, Foundation Report. Welcome.
See if I can finish stealing all of Brent's thunder.
Yeah.
Well, you can see I have a long list of activities for you folks to be aware of. Some of them are a little unusual, but I want to emphasize them because we have our fund committees working with our Local Heroes Fund and our Fine Arts Fund, and both of those are meeting this week. And both of those have a little event happening in concert with their meeting. So we're cutting each meeting to 60 minutes. And the last 30 minutes of the meeting, our Local Heroes Fund, which covers programs that are healthcare workers, educators, police officers, and firefighters, right? So we're gonna walk over to the nursing lab and have a private tour of the nursing lab. So you have that time and location for you there if you'd like to just join us for that time. Also, the art gallery is having a art exhibition reception on the 11th, and our Fine Arts Committee is going to cut their meeting short and go over there. And we also asked as many of the art faculty to join us at the reception to kind of mingle and get to know each other. So I'm inviting my foundation board members. Certainly love to have you if you have an opportunity to come by the campus on those days. Art and come meet some of our newest volunteers at the COS Foundation. Crush Party, it's this Friday. So if you're wanting to go, please let me know. We have about 350 people are going to be there. We have 50 vendors of food and various forms of drink. So it'll be a great time this Friday at the Tulare campus. It's a wonderful event. It was a wonderful partnership with us and the Tulare Chamber of Commerce. And it's just great to have 350 people in the community come to our Tulare campus. All that construction that's happening. Who knows, maybe we'll change venue spaces. I did want to let you know that we have our COS retirees going on an excursion to Monterey. We've kind of been expanding upon our brunches and started creating little bus trips to day trips using a bus transportation that we help coordinate. 17th, you're welcome to join. We have plenty of space for that. I did want to let you know that this past Friday, the COS Foundation was given this award from Edison International. This thing is heavy. It's the real deal. And that was a community partnership award. Edison International, Southern California Edison, has been funding scholarships and some program grants to the college since before my time, and they have just grown that. It's been tens of thousands of dollars. We're now up to $45,000 a year coming from Edison International to help us with scholarships in fields of study that link to the people that they hire, right? And so they're helping build the pipeline for new local hires. And the Puente program and the Mesa program, 2 student support services programs that we have. So it was a wonderful event. They do it right. They did it at the multicultural festival that they had at the Tulare Agri Center area. Fresno, so you're all welcome to join us at Fresno to checks to all the 5 colleges here in the Central Valley. So all the 4 state center colleges and College of Sequoias are getting a $20,000 check for scholarships. And so
We also thank you, Tim, for hosting our fall retiree brunch on September 15th. Had close to 75 of our retirees back on campus. We do it every single semester. It is one of our favorite things to do, to bring faculty and staff back on campus that have retired. For the first time, we used the Educational Support Services building. It was a fabulous venue for it. I don't know that we could fit many more than the 75, because with staff and everything, we probably had 90 people in there. But it was a wonderful, wonderful morning just to be able to share with them the things that we're doing, and they see it themselves because a lot of them are still involved in one way or another. So they're excited about the progress around here. And then one particular faculty member who wants no notoriety, but he stopped in a week later and made his 3rd annual contribution to the foundation for the endowment, and one of the endowments. And for the 3rd year in a row, the check was in excess of $40,000. Just amazing. We don't do the retiree brunches for that purpose. We do it just for fellowship and to keep our retirees connected. But this individual just loves the things that the college is. He just says, it just makes me so proud that I can say that I retired from the College of Sequoias, and it's just amazing to see the support that he and others are providing. So Tim, thank you for organizing all that. It was just a wonderful morning.
absolutely, thank you, Brent. Yeah, that.
Danny, thank you.
That's why he does what he does.
That's right. Next up, Dr. Lacerna, accreditation report.
So I think everyone already spoke about this, but just a brief report that we had Dr. Catherine Webb here from the ACCJC on Friday. And I want to thank Trustee Nunez and Trustee Macareno for joining us that day. We had our accreditation work group and our accreditation evidence team meet with
Next up is the continuation of the new faculty introductions. Dr. Calvin?
I've got a couple things before we get to that. Just my normal report. Raymond helped me cross a few things off here, but we do have the latest theater event starting this Thursday. Titus Andronicus starts this Thursday. It'll have 7 different events. Looking forward to that. Our band is also performing a show entitled Choose Joy, which I just love. Choose Joy. We can all make choices, and it doesn't surprise me that Michael's named this one Choose Joy. That will be in our theater on October 24th. So you got 7 opportunities to see Titus, but just 1 opportunity to see Choose Joy. We do have the Crush Party this Friday. Looking forward to that, as well as a football game against that team up north. Here in the Sequoia Stadium, starting at 1 o'clock, there'll be tailgate contests beforehand, and just lots of things going on. Should be a fun morning. And then we do get to meet 2 more full-time faculty members this morning, and hear from 2 division chairs. So if Dr. Lucerna will rejoin us, we'll get that started.
So thank you for, I'll have the continuation of the new faculty, and I have them here with me now. So really excited about these 3 faculty members, and as I was reading about them today and putting these notes together, they have a lot in common. So especially they all enjoy gaming, so it's very interesting. But we have our next faculty member is our new biology faculty member, and that's Juan Nunez. So very excited to introduce Juan. He was born in Delano and raised in Early Mart. And while growing up in Early Mart, Juan worked alongside his other community members in the grape fields. He, from there on, he went to receive his bachelor's in general biology and a master's in general biology with a single subject science teaching credential from California State University, Bakersfield. Prior to joining COS, Juan worked at the wonderful company College Preparatory Academy in Delano as a 6th grade science teacher for 5 years. So he has a lot of patience. The 6th graders, right? You know, they're on their way to 7th and all that good stuff. So prior to that, he was a home English intervention teacher for Sullivan Learning Systems. Juan shared with me, or with us and me and everyone, that his family is from Cosala, Sinaloa, Mexico, and that he is hard of hearing in his left ear. He is a big video gamer, a massive multiplayer online and story-given games primarily. So they're all 3 gamers. He loves superhero comics and movies and fantasy lore stories. He loves going to the movies to watch horror, action, and fantasy superhero. Juan came to COS because he also started his college career at a community college. He wanted to be part of an institution that could provide higher education opportunities for his community and to be part of that journey. So please join me in welcoming Juan Nunez.
Anything you would like to share with us?
I'm really thankful, and like Dr. Lucerna was saying, I came up through the community college institution, and it's always been a career, like a dream career, I'm sorry, for me. And, you know, being able to come back and be a part of community college and, you know,
I have a question. At what point in your education did you determine that biology was kind of your avenue?
I think like early on, it's just always kind of like been what interested me, what I was good at, just what I was passionate about. I mean,
So from a young age, you've liked science and biology, high school?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And card games when I was thinking about science. Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Juan, tell us just very briefly about the wonderful company academy in Delano and what, in your opinion, what that's meant to that community.
Oh, it's they've done a lot of work in the community. They have invested a lot of money in the community. We have a lot of, well, when I was part of the company, there's a lot of students, around children that are getting to have these opportunities that they maybe wouldn't have in other schools, and it's there's a big emphasis on being ready for college. It's a college prep academy, and they invest a lot in their teachers too, which I think is what sort of helped me to get this.
Welcome.
Okay, and the next person is Dylan Allen. And so Dylan is our new engineering faculty member. He was born in Visalia and was raised in Ivanhoe until he moved back to Visalia in middle school. He attended COS as well. Dylan completed his bachelor's degree at UC Santa Barbara in physics. He completed, this is very interesting, his master's degree in space systems engineering at Johns Hopkins University, and he is currently working on his master's degree in mathematics at Fresno State. So prior to joining COS, Dylan worked as a mathematician for the Undersea Threat Assessment Group at Johns Hopkins University. And I imagine we'll have questions about what that is. And as a guidance, navigation, and control engineer for space-related projects at Lockheed Martin Space. Dylan is interested in robotics, mathematics, and programming, and he collects books. He states that attending COS was a very pivotal moment in his life, and he wants to give back to the community that made him the person he is today. He has worked in student support and is really excited to transition to this role as professor. So please.
Background on some of those interesting facts.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm allowed to talk about. Pretty much all of it's classified, but.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Aw, shucks, all right. That's the stuff we want to know about.
Yeah.
So, given your, all the information that Jennifer mentioned, sounds like maybe Friday Night Labs is in your future. I don't know if you know about that or,
Yes,
or
it
what
was a
they
very
do.
pivotal part of me being a student as well. That's what.
Great, welcome.
So I'm going to introduce both of our new division chairs, and you don't have. So when we have 4 new division chairs this year. You'll meet 2 this week and 2 next month. And I'll just do a quick introduction. I won't come up in between, but Joshua Dillard is our new science division chair, and he's actually in his 2nd semester because last semester he took over for one of our division chairs who left his assigned role early. So we really appreciate Joshua stepping in a semester. And we always invite the new division chairs to just introduce themselves, tell you about their division, and get a chance for you to hear a little bit more. So that happens every 3 years unless someone leaves early or someone could stay for two sessions. Or in the case of our 2nd division chair, who you'll meet after Joshua, Dr. Marla Prochnow, she came back for a 2nd round, so she took a hiatus and then threw her hat back in the ring and came back to be the division chair for social science. So we're really excited to have Marla back in that role, and she will be presenting right after Joshua. So welcome, Joshua.
Hi, so I'm Joshua Dillard. I am the current science division chair. I made a little PowerPoint. I don't know if we needed to or not, but I made one to kind of help you guys walk through the information I have. So to start off, I always like to introduce myself a little further. So I grew up in Porterville. I went to Granite Hills High School. That's where I grew up. I went to Porterville College and then went to San Diego State and eventually Cal Poly San Luis Obispo for my graduate degree. I teach microbiology, majors biology, and animal/introduction to biology here. I've taught for 7 years. This is my 7th year here. Technically, it's my 2nd semester as chair because, like Jennifer said, I took over for another division, or the division chair before me. In grad program, I specialize in E. coli transmission, specifically in cattle, and how it transmits pathogens from one cattle to another, and how to stop those pathogens from infecting humans once they ingest the meat. And so that's kind of what I specialized in. And then to get to, I guess, what I actually work on now, which is the science division itself. So the science division is a growing division. We're actually quite large now. When I started, I think there were only 14 professors in science, 15 professors, something like that. Now there are 20 full-time professors in science. There are 10 biology professors. You met our newest hire here, which was Juan. As well as 6 chemistry professors, 2 physics professors, 1 geology and 1 geography professor. And we are a very new department. 60% of the professors, the full-time professors, are less than 5 years, basically, have been working here less than 5 years. And 75% less than 8 years. So 15 of the 20 have been here less than 8 years. We are a new department. We're growing as we continue to go. And yeah, I'm very proud of all of them. They're all great professors. They all do a really good job. As for the basic information statistics of the department, we've grown fairly quickly as a division. And man, that's really small. I should have made that bigger. We had 194 sections of science in 2008 to 2019. Now, this last 2022 to 23, we have 251 sections of science. So we've grown 57 science sections from before COVID. So before COVID, we were 51 sections smaller than we are now. In spring of 2024, we'll have 114 sections of science. That's the highest we've ever had. Before COVID, or during COVID, even during the online-only phase of spring 2021, we only had 99 sections, even when everything was fully online. So even now, we have more sections than we did during that whole phase. In spring 2024, which is the upcoming semester, this upcoming next semester, we have 88.6% fully in person, 9.6% hybrid, which is online lecture, in-person lab, and only 1.8% fully online for our teaching structures. It's really hard to do online in science because you have to have a lab, and you have to be in person for the lab. So we can't really do any science online except for, I think, geography is the only science that's allowed to be taught online. So hybrid's the only other option, but most of our science faculty prefer in person, and so that's what they do. And then just kind of some interesting stats before I move on to the last part. We have a huge variety of different types of individuals in science. I just found out this week that we have a pilot, someone who just got their pilot's license. We have an individual who likes riding around on his electric unicycle, which was mentioned earlier. I see him all the time when I walk over to Habit for lunch. He's always zooming by on his unicycle. We have a ton of people who work in Friday Night Lab. We have doing different experiments, whether it's we kill tardigrades, which are little molecular organisms. They're renowned for being very difficult to kill, and we see what we can do to actually get rid of them because they are kind of annoyances to general population, and other different things that we do as well. We also have a whole bunch of different study sessions that we work with in Mesa. Mesa works really hard with us in conjunction with us, and we really appreciate their help. Last but not least, what will I do as division chair? Well, what I hope to do is what I can tell you. I don't know how much I'll actually get done. I hope all of it, but we'll see how it goes. Increase adjunct faculty. We actually have a really strong adjunct faculty. We're really good with that. Geology is pretty good too. I mean, geology is pretty good too. Physics, not so bad. Chemistry, rough. It is really hard to get adjunct chemists, and we're working really hard to get those adjunct chemists. And so I'm trying to work with Francisco to find new ways to meet with new people and get those new adjunct chemists to come in and help with the leftover classes we have. Also, maximizing room usage and availability and improving scheduling. This kind of goes together. We have grown so much that we're kind of cramming our labs, if you will. We are filling up the labs from morning to evening, and we're having a little bit of trouble figuring out where everyone needs to go, because we have so many new sections. And so by maximizing the usage, making sure all the rooms are used to their best ability, we don't have giant gaps that don't allow for other things to go in there, we're able to add more classes and serve more students. And then scheduling is a big part of that as well. And then create more interaction between colleagues. Science, getting scientists to get together is like trying to get cats to all live together. It's not easy. It's really hard to get them all together, get everyone working together. Everyone's very independent. They're like, well, I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want getting them all on the same page. And in the past, we haven't been the best at doing that. So I'm trying really hard to make constant meetings so that we're always meeting with each other, and we know exactly where everyone stands. And that's about my 5 minutes, and so hopefully that's enough information. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Yeah.
Where were you at, Cal Poly?
I was at Cal Poly from 2012 to 2015. Yeah. I worked in the science department, but I worked also with animal sciences. They have Cal Poly Bull Run where they get bulls from all over California. And I took E. coli from those bulls.
Dylan, the classes that you personally teach, are they limited to one campus, or are you on?
I'm only on Visalia campus. When I started, I was half Visalia, half Hanford. But then as we expanded, we added new people to be full-time Hanford and full-time Visalia for bio. So I teach micro and majors bio predominantly in Visalia.
I would have thought that animal science, you'd been in the Tulare campus.
So we do animal as in zoology. We call it animal science, but it's basically zoology. But because I do have experience with animal science, having worked with a lot of animal science instructors and faculty members at Cal Poly, zoology is a class I'm fairly familiar with.
I think you're going to be successful.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the PowerPoint.
All right, well, because I teach anthropology and I have your attention, I was very interesting.
She started one of my PowerPoints.
Let me show you my boomerang.
So this is boomerang, and most often people associate boomerangs with just being used in Australia, but this one is actually from Papua New Guinea. So it's not a back, don't throw it, it's not a backstroker. And this is part of a growing collection that I'm stewarding that is coming from a Visalia family. Really liked traveling and working abroad and collecting things, and their adult children.
You're the recipient.
Keeper of the things that they don't want to keep. So, and it's a great space for it, and this stuff is just premier, and it's all. But anyway, so I'm Dr. Marla Prochnow. Hello again. So the Social Science Division, we have over 500 classes annually. 20 of those are dual enrollment classes annually. We have about 23 full-time faculty with about 43 for this year at least is we do have 3 full-time retirements. So one person retired in looking forward to rehiring for those positions that will be empty by lovely people that we love so much. Yeah, so we're kind of, and I think in the Social Science Division, this is probably going to be our last big phase of retirees, and then there'll be a lull, and nobody will go anywhere for a minute, and then, you know, so. But other interests that I have, so I am your facilitator for our cultural historical.
who was a Polish our students to museums out of they could major in museum studies at the university, we just don't have that here.
We appreciate that.
Welcome back. You took it on again.
Welcome back.
So.
I know.
Welcome back.
Anything else?
Yeah,
Any
good,
questions?
All right.
good luck.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Just say, don't forget your boomerang.
I just wanted to thank the faculty again for being here, and then shout out to their deans who are here for moral support for the new faculty and the division chairs, Francisco Banuelos, who's our Dean of Math, Science, and Engineering, and Dr. Jesse Wilcoxon, who's our Dean.
Thank you.
Right. Reports, filling in for Mr. Arzola is our beloved Mr. Hurst.
Dave first.
Trustees, Dr. Calvin, appreciate it. President Arzola. Report will be brief, simply reporting. Before I read the resolution, I just want to contextualize that the Senate itself took great pains to separate this particular resolution from any alleged and we didn't reference any particular managers or anything. Our Senate's concern gist of the resolution, and I know beyond affirming academic freedom as a faculty right is work together to develop a formal training. Whereas Title V, Section 51.020. Procedures which are consistent with the provisions of sections 53200 through 53206 regarding the role of the Academic Senate and Faculty Councils. Consulting Whereas Title V, Section 52510 states evaluation refers to a tool to provide that no faculty member shall be mistreated, disciplined, reassigned, resolved, I've made it through the whereas, resolved that the methods of instructional delivery used by an instructor are protected under Board Policy 4030 and should not be subject to negative effects. Resolved that the Sequoias Community College District Board of Trustees or their conducting faculty
He's to print some.
I like the colors, nonetheless.
So I have a comment. I mean, David did a great job. He's just the messenger, so I'm not looking to start any kind of argument because really I agree with everything that's in this version. 2 weeks ago, the initial version, it did make reference to an individual faculty member, dean situation that prompted this. And I won't get into a lot of that other than to say I don't think it was an academic freedom issue so much as an academic performance issue. And I think we all agree that not only faculty but students and institutions, we do have academic freedom. It's what keeps us separate from government or other interference. It's not only teachers, folks. It's the institution itself. We decide who we hire and who we retain and who we promote. And so academic freedom is essential. The only reason we're talking about this, in my opinion, is that we had an adjunct faculty member that had an academic performance issue. And I was just looking on the Department of Education, the federal site. There's a wonderful paper by Dr. Donald Dowds, published by the Pope Center for Higher Ed. He's a professor of political science at University of Wisconsin. And academic freedom was entitled, What It Is, What It Isn't, and How to Tell the Difference. And in the third paragraph, this just about sums up where I'm coming from. Faculty have the freedom to teach or research as they wish, subject to accepted professional norms of competence and responsibility. But the school employing them has the right to determine acceptable teaching standards. The school also has the authority to evaluate the competence of the scholar for purposes of hiring, retention, and promotion. And until I made my pitch at Academic Senate 2 weeks ago, this looked differently. There's nothing here that I really disagree with. Although I will say that in my opinion, or in my memory, this may be the first time we've talked about this in maybe at least a year, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. And we have 3,000 classes a year. If you multiply that by 10 years, you got 30,000 classes. And now we've got one, maybe two that have prompted this. You know, if that doesn't, if 2,000 or 29,998 out of 30,000 doesn't represent substantially comply, I'm not sure what will. I mean, we could all have PhDs in academic freedom, and I don't think we'd ever do better than that. So we're certainly willing to have this conversation, but I think your district very much values academic freedom. And I think our deans are trained very thoroughly on what it is and what it isn't and how to tell the difference. And I think in this case, we did as well. I think we started on this journey as a response to this one situation, and we got so far down the track, it was too hard just to call it all off. And so we kind of modified it into this, which nobody would disagree with this. So I feel like we do substantially comply with it. I appreciate where you're coming from, David, but I think this is kind of a non-issue, really. I don't think anybody disagrees with this. I think we were trading barbs over a situation that you've taken now out of this. So thank you for coming up and doing such a great job with it. And if we need to continue talking about this, we certainly can. But I don't think your district has any issue with academic freedom, what it's supposed to be. So thank you for that.
If we could continue.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Comments? Nope. Thank you. We'll take this under advisement. Next up is Ms. Redden.
Thank you.
Ms. Kane for CSCA President's Report. Welcome.
Their second tri-union gathering on September 20th.
High score, low score? Who we got?
Listen, I'm not here to run anyone.
With rails or no rails?
We did not do bumpers, so everyone was having to rest. We weren't playing pinball out there, no. So that was a great time, and we thank everybody that came out. We're hoping those events gather some more speed and that we continue to grow and we continue to hold it. And CSEA have all committed to throughout the year, and I at this time wanted to encourage and urge both board, senior management, and management as a whole. I think we've got 50 plus managers here at the district.
Questions?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Phone, we're joined by Ms. Alberti to give the COSAFA President's update.
Hi, good evening. We are pleased to be working together with the district to get as many part-time faculty members as possible to complete the sexual harassment training. A special thank you to John Bratch for ensuring that part-time faculty get compensated for this essential training. We also had 119 part-time faculty members apply for office hours this semester, and the district was able to fund 99 of the requests. We would also like to thank the Academic Senate for their support of faculty academic freedom through the resolution that was presented today. We would also like to thank COSA for our mutual collaboration on protecting all faculty rights. And lastly, Samantha Brookshire, COSAFA Vice President, is also present tonight to answer any questions on the resolution from a union point of view. Thank you.
Yes.
We wanted to answer any questions about the resolution from the union point of view. I'm Samantha Brookshire, the Vice President of COSAFA, and I just wanted to also stipulate from the union perspective that one of the reasons COSAFA in particular supports the evaluators to go through training, because training is often offered and often utilized by evaluators, both administration and faculty at COS, but it is not technically required first. And also in Title V, the current new DEIA language does state specifically that to advance DEIA, principles in community college employment, district shall, number 2 there, ensure that evaluators have a consistent understanding of how to evaluate employees on DEIA competencies and criteria. So we supported that part of the resolution purely because there's going to likely be necessary required training for evaluators anyway. So we particularly supported that part of the resolution.
Well, that's great. Samantha, thank you for being here. Danielle, thank you for your report. Again, as it was presented, I don't think we have an issue here other than I feel like substantially comply, having only had really one dust up in I don't know how many years in the area of academic freedom. I just feel like we've created an issue that really didn't exist. Although I know COSAFA had an issue with the individual that we did not bring back for the fall, and under academic freedom, faculty are free to present their course in the manner that they see fit, but that doesn't stop their dean from having to evaluate them accordingly. And in the case, I've already said it publicly, in this case, we had a class of 32 and one student passed. That's going to bring attention on that individual from their dean, and I think we would all support that. That dean has to respond, or he's being negligent in his own job. And I'll read from our accreditation standards, the new standards, 2.6. The institution uses delivery modes and teaching methodologies that meet student and curricular needs and promote equitable student learning and achievement. And then with the criteria, the institution regularly evaluates the effectiveness of its delivery modes and then gets into just how those modes are examined for continuous improvement and so forth. In this case that started all this, that's what happened. One student out of 32 passes. We're going to take a pretty close look, and in this case made the difficult decision not to bring someone back for their one class. Otherwise, I don't believe we have an issue with academic freedom. We encourage academic freedom of our faculty as well as in our research. So I look forward to further conversations with Vice President Hurst and President Arzola. But again, I kind of feel like this started out as a union issue that kind of hit a dead end. So then it was brought to Academic Senate, and it was worded one way until I came and gave basically the same presentation in Academic Senate, and then it gets modified to this, which is, you know, something that I don't think any of us are going to disagree with. We all support academic freedom. So that's just my 2 cents again. Samantha, Danielle, great having you here, though. It's great to have a report from CASAFA.
Thank you. And to respond to that, just from the reason why you don't see student success discussed in this resolution whatsoever, as well as the specifics about the instructors that may or may not have been potentially involved in inciting the matters at hand. That the union felt very strongly that there is no qualms about having problems that arise from evaluations that encompass a myriad of issues, one of those potentially being student success or violating, the course outline of record, or violating, board policies or administrative procedures or anything like that. And that is why the resolution was very specifically tailored just to BP 4030, making it that it cannot be the sole reason, right? That other concerns are obviously very important, and no one, I think, in Senate or the union would disagree with that statement whatsoever. But that just very specifically to clarify, in the spirit of, as you say, President, continuous improvement, right? So we saw a potential ability to clarify for everyone involved in the future, potentially, right? That specifically having addressed evaluations, that we focus on all of those encompassing things at once and not have one of those sole reasons be something that sends an evaluation down the line.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Well said, Samantha. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have informational reports, annual report on college Sequoia's high school partnerships.
Hello again, and so I want to thank our presenters for joining us tonight and sitting through the first half of the meeting. And so we do this once a year. We hear from our high school partners and get an update on how they're doing and the most recent information. So I'll just introduce all three of them. They'll come up one at a time. I won't step in between. But joining us this evening, we have from Visalia Technical Early College High School, from VTech, Scott Braun, who's the principal. From the University Preparatory High School, UPHS, Dr. Helen Milorn-Feller, who's the interim principal. And then from COS Dual Enrollment, we have Dr. Chris Fomer, who's our director of our Welcome Center and Early College Partnerships. So they'll come up in that order and give their update. So Scott, come on up.
Really excited to be here. It's my 10th month at VTech, so I stepped into a position that was slated to have some springboards that are happening. So you're gonna hear about VTech now and in the future because of the pre-work that was done by my predecessor. So one of the things that VTech is working on is really who are we and what are we here for? And we're here to empower students to reach their aspirations through ag-related fields, and we want to fast track their future, and we do that with the support of COS. And one of those big supports is our College Success Liaison that we just rehired, a new one. Not that the other one wasn't perfect, but the other one went to a new position, and we had the opportunity to hire a very qualified individual. We had, I think at the original part, Dr. Waltner whittled it down to like 50 candidates, and then we whittled it down to about 8 as a team, and we were able to hire the best candidate, I believe, through the team. So our job is to fast track their future, and with the support of COS. As an early college, we have currently only 230 students. And again, this is my 10th month coming out of COVID. We lost some ground, and so we're working on how do we best recruit. So that's one of the things that our faculty is working on, and myself. But we had 34% of our 2023 graduates attend COS this last semester. Oops, there's too many. We have our students going to various colleges, but one of the ones I want to highlight is we had a graduate from COS last spring that graduated from COS prior to graduating from VTech, so I was kind of excited to have that happen. Right? That's not normal, but that's what happened, and we're looking to see, I think there probably might be 2 or 3 in the next few years as they are diligently, as we are only allowed, because we're in early college, we're only allowed to have our students take 11 semester units per semester. So it doesn't quite average out unless they get a stipulation and we get some support. So excited about that piece. We have the early college pathway, which was designed around getting students opportunities in early college, because we feel like, actually I'm a junior college graduate, not in this area, but I was a junior college graduate before I went to Fresno State. So I do believe in this system, but we have to give them success. And we feel like VTech does a good job of helping them do a customizable path. And with that, our Student Success Liaison, which was a grant-funded position previously, but now we are partially funding it with a grant, but our district, Visalia Unified, has said we're going to support this because it's a great partnership, and we're really excited. We are expanding that partnership, hopefully, with a new grant that I wrote in partnership with Dr. Waldner, and we're working to bring in a pathway that has to do with advanced manufacturing, one that's a little bit, it gets a bad rap, I think, for what it really actually does for our society, and so we're super excited for that piece. There are other avenues that I'm working with. Dr. I can't think of your last name. Shingle. I would say it wrong anyways. I've met with her many times. And she invited us to an event at COS this last Friday, and I got to bring some students, and they were so excited to see your new facility, and we got to tour that. So it was a really good active partnership there. So I'm working on building that branch also, because I think that if we're a Visalia technical early college, that we should be promoting the technical aspects. And in my 10th month, I've kind of figured out what those pieces are, and so we're working on those. Generally, we also have 3 pathways in the animal science, plant science, and ag systems. We are on the old COS campus, so your old farm, we're there. So if you wanted to know, you want to take a tour, you can come over. We've done. Our FFA is a 3-star nationally recognized FFA chapter, which is not usual for such a small campus and not usual for the state in general. And then we were a top 4 finalist for our FFA class at the state level. So we have a lot of great things going on. We have a partnership with our parent group. In fact, Ephraim is on the right-hand side there. He was the graduate of COS and here, and VTech. We have dual enrollment that we do at our site. We have a variety of classes, whatever our students kind of want, because we can customize to that. And we worked with our Student Success Liaison to fill in their IGESI and make sure that they are taking transferable courses for later on, whatever they decide, and we want to hope that they have success, so we support them with those pieces also. Go to that link. We have a really nice video where our parent group put together kids talking about why they love VTech and what the great pieces we have there. So working and looking forward to continuing this partnership as we move along. So thank you very much.
Good.
Did somebody compliment his orange and blue tie?
By the way, it's really difficult to find orange and blue ties.
Just check my closet. I've got about 80 of them. Yeah. Brent's wife has bought them all.
What's going on?
So I wanted to just emphasize some of the things that have happened with our graduates. Last year, 57 graduates completed their program at UPHS, and all of them are college ready. Our graduation requirements do meet the COSU graduation. So for us, we had 8 students this year. This past year, they graduated with their AA degree. So like VTech, they graduated from COS on Thursday, a week before they graduated from UPHS. So that's always really exciting to see them in both their gowns and their pictures. Other things, just to kind of note, our average GPA at UPHS for 22-23 was 3.29. And we averaged about 1,200 credits about each semester. And the grades from A through C, we had 820 grades for spring and semester that fell into that category. So our students are achieving at high levels in their college classes. We have quite a few. In fact, if you go to a graduation or an award ceremony, about half of the kids in any of our graduation class are at a 4.0 or higher. And so as VTech said, we're continuing to grow our campus too. COVID was hard on our campus, but we're back up to 247. We like to stay in the 250 range. Our kids, believe it or not, for that many students, we have 26 very active student organizations. And in fact, our foreign exchange students all participated in the UPOS Multicultural Day, so they're really excited to show off their cultures. And I think that one of the things that's really interesting this week, I guess on Friday, one of our students who graduated in 2015, Kyle Sweeney, he's still working in the Friday night lab. In fact, this is his last semester. He'll be going on. He got a job, I think, for Boeing, and he's going to be in Kansas, somewhere in Kansas, Midwest. So that program that you were talking about earlier has really been impactful for our students. We have another young man who went, when he was in high school, when he was a student here and transferred to Cal Poly and works for Lockheed Martin. And one of the things he says is the same that one of the that program was. So you have a lot of many programs here that help our students too in the evening. Our alumni like to come back and talk about their experience. This year, 30 of our alumni came back to speak about their experience at UPHS and at COS to give our current students information about what it's like to be an early college student, be enrolled in both high school classes at the same time. And we think this year's class will still have about 8 to 10. We're continuing to increase with the changes in the new CSU transfer or IGETSU pathway. We anticipate the ability to have more students earning their AA and AS degree. That is something that our students do strive for. And so just as a reminder, our graduation requirements are meeting all of the A through G expectations for CSU and UCs. They also have to complete 20 units, but quite frankly, many kids have 40 plus units with many finishing an AA degree and 60 transferables or an AA degree for transfer. So that is very helpful when they move on. I know both of my children graduated from UPHS and COS. So that transfer degree, AA degree really helps. They can finish their 4-year degree in 2 years. and help them. Last slide that I have for you all tonight is just about changes and growth. We have a lot of things that we're really excited about. We received a $250,000 grant to add to our program in independent study so that we could reach more students. Be able to help students who perhaps need to work for their family, maybe they're pregnant, maybe they're struggling in high school. So we've been able to reach that point with the emphasis on actually career technical education. And then a second program that actually pushes students to finish high school with a CTE certificate to be able to have a living wage job when they graduate. And then the third pathway under independent study program will continue to follow the pathway that we currently have, which will focus on IGETC, the IGETC path. We're really excited, like COS, we have grown a lot too. We are outgrowing our space, and we will be moving in 4 years. In the fall of 27, we will be placed on the Liberty campus, so that's really exciting. Mr. Heyer and the TICO board have a lot of plans in place. What we're really excited about is actually some of the things that you all talked about tonight. Our students will be able to go to both the Tulare campus and the Visalia. And CTE is becoming more and more what our kids want to be able to take, and so having access to that the Tulare campus will be very beneficial because many of the classes, architecture, anime, the welding, the whole new center that's coming, our kids are so interested in that. So we're looking forward to that growth. We're also extremely grateful to COS because we've been here on this campus since 2009, and COS has been an amazing partner. The board has supported us. I know President Calvin has many of the faculty are here, have had many of our kiddos. We're excited for this change and growth and the continued support from COS. And I think we're looking forward to what that allows for us, the ability, like maybe our teachers won't have to share classes, have some places for our sports facilities. We're struggling when kids want to have some sports. But really when kids are starting to find out, they're really saying, we can go to classes on the Tulare campus? And we're like, yeah, I can take welding, so just those ideas that they have this growth, and it is, someone said it's a really beautiful campus, it totally is. I'm excited to see that our kids will have access to both areas. I'm excited to see where our partnership continues to go with COS, so I just want to thank you for everything that you all do and all the support you've given us, and definitely UPHS is well on its way because of COS's support.
Clean up.
Good evening. Director of our Welcome Center and Early College Partnerships, and very much excited tonight to have the opportunity to highlight overall enrollment and success data for our COS Early College credit programs. So statewide, dual enrollment student participation has been increasing, and here at COS, no exception, the number of dual and concurrent enrollment students has maintained steady growth and increased over the years. Years ago, we were at just over 1,700 students pursuing dual and concurrent. Concurrent enrollment opportunities at some of the COS campuses or also, the chart below there, you see we've been able to separate out where students are taking college courses. So we have approximately 1,500 high school students taking a college course on their high school campus, and we have approximately another 1,500 How successful are COS dual and concurrent enrollment students? This chart here kind of breaks that down for you over a 5-year period. The past 5 years, success rates for dual and concurrent enrollment students are hovering around 90%. Excellent.
Chris, on that prior graph, excuse me, the COS students, 72%, tell me what you're trying to.
So that identifies the past 5 years, all other regular COS students.
Oh, okay, the
success
COS
rate.
population as a whole.
Correct. So the
Okay.
dual and concurrent enrollment students are surpassing.
Got it.
Regular students in terms of success rates. How are COS dual and concurrent enrollment students performing academically? So we know that they have high success rates, C or better in their courses. So our data indicates both dual and concurrent enrollment students' course grade point average has remained high over the past 5 years, as you can see the graph here. And helping students make early progress towards a college degree. Partners event at COS Tulare because we want to showcase our state-of-the-art ag facilities. So we're going to give the high school partners a tour of the campus and a tour of the farm, and connect them and have some instructors present on the programs there. So we really want to engage our partners. So that's one of our also adding direct counseling support for dual enrollment students in the coming weeks. That's a much needed support for credit students. And we're all working very hard to expand and strengthen partnerships. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Any questions?
Chris, are you able to serve all the high school students that want to participate and qualify, or is there like a waiting list to participate in the program?
So for the most part, from what I've seen, I'm just looking at from a broad perspective globally, most students that want to apply for concurrent enrollment opportunities, so that's taking a course at one of the, or the dual enrollment piece where we're offering courses at the high school, most all can find a spot in the course that they intend.
Item 2 under information is curriculum training certification. Dr. Lucerna.
Yes, so this is also an annual requirement in the Chancellor's Office that we certify. We just signed that certification that everybody involved in curriculum processes have gone through a training. And so what we're certifying is that the Board of Trustees locally can give approval for all credit and non-credit courses and the list that you see here, modified, new credit, new CTE, and some credit programs. So we signed a certification saying that we are doing that and that you are being trained on this. So here's where we are right now. We have a local improvement, regional recommendations for CTE programs, and this is our curriculum chair certification and then it goes to the Chancellor's Office for chapter. What we say in this course certification is that we are following the hours that are correct in the calculations, and you'll see that on the board reports that I bring you each month that has all of that information, that the board has approved the course outline of record, that the college has developed a local policy, that we have cooperative work experience, a local plan on file, and you're going to see a cooperative work experience, new legislation, AP coming forward soon, that we submit our programs to the chancellor's office, that we have all the things that we need attached, and that mandatory training is completed for everyone that needs to approve curriculum. So So basically, the submission, that it needs to be submitted to the chancellor's office, that we can, once we've submitted that, we can approve these new programs locally. That streamlines our processes and allows for quick approval. And then in our local policy, our BPs and APs say that we evaluate on a 5-year or a 2-year cycle for CTE programs. And then this is the order that it goes in when we approve things. They start with the division or department. They go to the next curriculum level. Then everything goes to the curriculum committee for technical review. It goes to the academic senate for approval, and then it comes to you. And you notice each time I present, I tell you guys this was approved at curriculum committee and academic senate. Now it's coming to the board. Then it goes to the chancellor's office, and it can't be entered into our catalog or our schedule until that is all complete. Okay. So what I thought we could talk about today is a few legislative items that are coming up that you'll be hearing about and learning more about. So the first one, and it's been mentioned a couple times tonight, is AB 928, which is transfer reform, and that is the single transfer GE pattern for CSU and UC. And that is to be implemented by fall 2025. And you've heard that referred to as Cal-GETC. So in the past, there were two different pathways. There was IGETC for UC and then the CSU transfer. And now it's combined and it's being called Cal-GETC. You are going to, I'm not going to get into detail on that today, but that's going to be a lot of impact on COS and all of the community colleges. We are in the process of developing a task force, and Vice President Morrison and I have recently met with our articulation officer, Mai Her, and our curriculum chair, Dr. Sarah Harris, and we're working together to put the task force together that will be looking at all of the legislation and determining the best pathway for COS. That will come through the task force, our general education committee, and our curriculum committee, academic senate, and the board. But we will be talking to you a lot more about that over the next few months. But it has to be implemented by fall 2025, which means here we have to know what we're doing by fall 2024 because we start advising students a year in advance. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that coming up.
How big are the changes?
Very big.
Really?
The problem is that they went with, the Cal-GETC basically is the UC transfer pattern, which is another hurdle for our students because the CSU or our local GE is a little bit easier to get through, but it has some impacts on some of our programs, our classes and our programs. So,
not to mention the work that our faculty have put in to build all those ADTs, the associate degrees for transfers. You've heard us say
yeah,
we
so
have
will that all go away?
We have the third most in the state. Well, there's several areas that the UC is saying would not be required in the Cal-GETC, but they're part of these ADTs. So in our opinion, CSU should have pushed back a lot harder than they did because left the way it is right now, it'll decimate a lot of those ADTs. Or it'll go back to what Vice President Morrison likes to call the Wild Wild West, which is every single CSU campus will have things a little bit different. And so as a high school student coming into a community college, you almost have to know, like summer before you start at a community college, you need to know where you want to transfer to and talk to a counselor about, okay, what is the requirement at San Diego State? I've heard what it is at Fresno State or Cal Poly, but I want to go to San Diego State. What are the nuances where they'll get me in kind of the side door because of these ADTs no longer are applicable? So it concerns us. Now, do I think that the entire higher ed system in California is going to fall apart as a result of this? No, I don't. We'll muddle through, but it is concerning.
and they, Dr. Harris and I serve on the statewide curriculum committee that has chancellor's office, statewide academic senate, all the different constituencies on it. And so we were with them in San Diego a couple weeks ago, and we talked to the chancellor's office directly about this. Some of the recommendations they made, and I'll give a couple examples of what Dr. Calvin just said. One is that, for example, biology and chemistry, there's no Cal-GETSI transfer pattern for those 2 science degrees, none at all. There's no STEM pathway. And so they told us, just leave those alone, don't touch them, we're gonna figure them out. The other example is our liberal studies teaching degree, because linguistics is no longer in the there's some required courses like linguistics, environmental science, and a few math at 10 and 11 that are required for that program, but they're not in the Cal-GETSI pattern. So those are some examples of where it's going to be problematic for some of our degrees. We're looking at some things like a local, it's a local GE certification, right, Jessica? And we're looking at a few other options, but that's what the task force is going to be looking at, is how's it going to impact COS, and what are we going to do for some of those things. Another example is our foreign languages. So now Spanish 1 and 2, American Sign Language 1 and 2, they're no longer in that transfer. A lot of things that we're going to have to work out, and we're on it right now and talking to the right people, and we'll be bringing you back more information.
What caused, and you can keep it brief, I know our meeting's going long, but what caused all of this to change? What was the impetus for such a big change?
Legislators.
But really?
Yeah.
Like non-educators?
They were looking at the, yeah. They were looking at the number of students that we actually transferred and hearing what some of the roadblocks were. And so they came up with some legislation that they thought would fix the problem. And the thing is, like, the UCs have a lot of power and all the money. And so they pretty much get to dictate what's going to happen. And that's what they did in this case. And I think that, like President Calvin said, the CSUs weren't as involved as they needed to be. CSU faculty are pushing back on this now, but it's already done. Yeah.
And the concept of transfer reform was a good one that we would support. Kind of doubling down on the whole ADT would have been a good idea. But they left it to UC faculty, and it really favors them. And they forget that a third of their graduates every year got their start at a California community college, or almost a third. And over half of CSU graduates every year got their start at a California community college. So our four-year partners are forgetting the foundation that we provide for this entire system, and just expecting us to adjust to whatever they come up with, especially the UCs. It's really, really frustrating right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
But we will keep you up. The other one then related to that is Title V updates for our local general education patterns. So you have the UC transfer, the CSU transfer, and then our local transfer, which is our general education transfer. And the Title V regulations have been updated, and we got an email today that they were just signed off by the governor today or yesterday, that our local government GE requirements are now going to align with the Cal-GETSI pattern. And so that is our local requirement. The first thing that kind of happened with that was ethnic studies. Ethnic studies now a requirement, and so that we were working on that. We just approved the new way for our GE pattern to look with ethnic studies at the curriculum committee meeting last Wednesday. That will be going to academic senate and then coming forward. But now we have to do a full change to our local GE pattern. And we have, the General Education Committee will be working on that. That will come to the Curriculum Committee and work through Academic Senate. But there's going to be a lot of discussion as well on our local GE pattern. We don't want to increase the number of units for our GE. We can't increase the total number of units for our ADTs, our degrees. They are slated to 60 units. That's kind of the max. And so there's going to be a lot of discussion about what internal changes need to happen so that we can incorporate those new local requirements with all of our degrees, local and everything else. Next thing is Common Course numbering, and that's AB 1111. So this is all good stuff that legislators get to decide what our community colleges get to do.
I think we have bigger fish to fry on the state level.
That we need to use the same numbering for California community colleges, all California community colleges for GE and transfer pathways. So an example is English 1, that's our English, our general transfer English, maybe English 1 here, English 1A somewhere else, English 101 somewhere else. They all need to have the same number. And so what we're going to start with, there's a task force convened, and we just requested, the Chancellor's Office has requested an extension of the bill to 2027, and we'll see. Hopefully that gets approved because we're already way behind the game. But they're going to start with English, and they'll bring all the faculty together from the various colleges and decide what should English be called, and it's going to have the same number everywhere. So English 1 will be English 1. Or
If we get our way.
If we get our way. So the good news is, the
That makes
last
sense.
one.
English 1's
The
good.
last one I don't have to talk to you about because we just got information that was vetoed by the governor. This was we heard about repeatability of classes. It's one of those things that things weren't repeatable, then they weren't repeatable, and now they were going to bring them back to be repeatable. The language is really confusing, and so the Chancellor's Office and several other people wrote letters to the governor and asked him to veto that bill, and he did. So we just, hot off the presses, thank goodness that was repealed or vetoed. The last thing then is equity in curriculum, and so in support of our mission, and with other new legislation that has come down from the Chancellor's Office and other places, we have asked all faculty to review their curriculum for equity within the context of their disciplinary expertise. And so that's now on our curriculum review. And in our first implementation, 59 COS courses were reviewed for equity. And any of these things that you see listed here can include an equity review, like making sure the units are appropriate, reducing costs. So a lot of things we're looking at is like free or reduced cost textbooks, support equity. We're looking at increasing access, content descriptions, so as an inviting, and in fact, Dr. Prochnow, who was here earlier, did one of the best revise of her classes. She started with, "Can you dig it?" And I think you guys remember that. So getting students interested in the course description for her class. And then making sure we don't limit enrollment or have other disproportionate impacts on any of our student groups by limiting who can enroll in certain classes. So there's a new project toolkit that I also was able to work on in my statewide role, which is the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion in Curriculum Model Principles and Practices. And that's been a guide that we can look at as we review our curriculum and make sure that what we're providing to our students is equitable. So that is a really quick, brief update on curriculum, where we are and where we're headed. And we will keep you informed on all of those policies that are coming forward. That is your official training.
Thank you.
Do they need to take a test?
Yes, I'm going to pass out the quiz.
Yeah, go for it.
Any questions?
No, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good luck with all that.
Thank you.
Next up is the consent calendar. We have 7 items for consent. All items on the consent calendar considered routine will be enacted by one motion. An item may be removed from the consent calendar at the request of any member of the Board of Trustees or any person in the audience and considered as a separate agenda item. Those items are minutes of the previous meeting, personnel report, payment of bills, 2023-24 working budget approval, out-of-state travel request for HBCU Pathways program, out-of-state travel request for Printworks Club, and an agreement for physical therapist assistance program. Are there any items to be removed from that and considered separately? It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as presented. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, no. And no abstentions. Passed all, each and every one passed. Yes, please.
The last time we did an out-of-state travel request for students, they produced a highlight video and it had some photos, and I hope that we can encourage those that go to Howard and Morgan State and the other schools that if they can take pictures and videos and share with the community the opportunities that we're affording to our students to visit those campuses, I would really enjoy that or appreciate that.
Yes, excellent.
Yeah, or Chicago, even the Chicago.
You don't have to tell us to make a video, Raymond.
No, I just.
We are video
Raymond
people.
wants to go and make the videos. Can you add a marketing person to the trip?
Well, then I want to thank you in advance for creating a wonderful highlight video. Chicago.
There you go.
Dr. Lacerna, you're back up
Yes,
for
I am.
curriculum,
My
new,
goodness, we have to
modified,
separate
deleted.
these out in the future.
Item 10.
Okay, so now that you've been trained and passed your quiz, I have the board curriculum report that's been approved by the curriculum committee and the academic senate, and these are all course modifications. I do want to point out that just as we discussed, you can see most of these have an equity review that we just talked about, that was part of the things that they updated during their 5-year review. And so it's recommended the board approve this very short curriculum report.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the report as presented. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, no. And no abstentions, so passes unanimously. Thank you. I was curious as to why the equity review showed up there that I hadn't remembered seeing before, so thank you for clarifying.
You were trained
that.
on that. You should know now.
Yes, now I know. And,
You don't even have to ask the question.
we have covered item 11, so item 12 is the last
With the barrage of policies.
agenda item.
Yes, trying to play a little catch-up here.
Another test.
We've got 12 BPs you're seeing for the first time, a first read. And I think one of our board members may have a suggestion, and I have just a little context on the same BP. It's BP 2725. Currently, our board members, including our student trustee, are given, if I'm not mistaken, $20 per meeting. Is that correct, Megan? The state will allow, or the Ed Code will allow, districts with between 10,000 and 25,000 full-time equivalent students, which we'd be in that category, they'll allow up to $400 per month, in our case, per meeting. And then if you're less than that, between 1,000 FTES and 10,000, the cap is $240 a month or meeting for those that meet once a month, and most community college districts do. So Dean Bratch did a little bit of research and found that West Hills compensates their board members that choose to accept it. And maybe they don't all accept it, but they compensate at $240 per month. Kern is $300, Merced is $240, Yosemite is $400, Cuesta is $240. State Center is $750, so they must be over the 25,000. They've got four colleges and a couple of centers, so they must be over the 25,000. I give you that as context because as we were reviewing this policy in various constituency groups before it comes to you, our academic senate felt that at least our student trustee should be given more than $20 per meeting, and certainly the board members would have the opportunity to choose whether or not they accepted it or not, and that feeling rolled over into district governance senate as well, feeling like board members can make the decision they want to make in terms of compensation, but maybe we should look out for our student trustee a little more closely than we have. I think we've been historically low because we've had a conservative board that did not want to have money spent on themselves, I think most of you feel that way. But I just wanted to share that feedback from both our academic senate and our district governance senate. And I think Trustee Macareno, this was the one you had a comment on as well. So if you'd like to, Raymond, you can certainly share.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about looking about other trustees in the area, so I was fine with the $20, but my recommendation was, if there's ever a situation where we're at a meeting for more than 6 hours, then it would be a higher compensation. And there's only actually one meeting per year, which is the second day of our board retreat, where we're in a meeting for more than 6 hours. So really it was more just kind of a, most of us have to take the full day off of work to attend that meeting. So I wanted to bring it as consideration of maybe that one day of the 12 months that'd be a higher rate. But also open to any discussions. But if it stayed the same for each meeting at $20, I'm fine with it as well.
And I know that Megan and I discussed this after hearing the feedback from senators at both academic and district governance senate, and thought, well, maybe it's $20 per hour up to the cap allowed here. And so a meeting that went an hour would be $20 for that month. But a meeting that did go 3 hours might be $60. And that certainly meet the spirit of the suggestions that we heard from our constituency groups. Ken, I know you had your hand up.
Yeah, I don't know about the rest of you, but I think I'm getting paid $40 a meeting.
Yeah, I am too.
Well, you need a.
It's because you guys talk so much.
You must be taking my 20, because I haven't taken anything.
I think it was changed several years ago for health insurance purposes.
The last time this was visited was 2007? Is that right?
Well, I remember a few years ago, we had a pretty good argument about whether we ought to take money or take pay or not.
I remember talking about it, but I don't remember what we discussed.
Well, I remember Earl was pushing to take money, but I think we worked out something where he was able to get more compensation for expenses than he was.
Mileage and so forth,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Mileage is.
Or trips, just like conventions and that type of thing.
Yeah, I think our BP is out of date.
Okay, we'll look at that. Again, this is a first read, so having some input, like what you guys would like to hear or like to see for a second read would be appreciated. I mean, I think it was brought up primarily thinking of our student trustee giving up his or her time. Which kind of made us feel like, well, it sounds like if it's 40 right now, $20 an hour would still be consistent with that. And maybe if we had presented it as 40, the other groups would have had quite the issue that they had.
I look at my bank statement every month and I think, where did that come from? And then I pull it up and I see it's the pay for being a trustee. So
You have it automatically deposited?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know I could do that. They have to call me because I have 6 months worth of $40 checks that I haven't deposited.
That's what I'm talking about. A man of your means.
I know, my wife likes it when I give her all those checks and she can go spend it.
Oh, gosh, lost control of this. We lost control of this. So, any feedback for us? Because I want to bring back something that the board will support at the next board meeting. But I'd also like to, and be cognizant of kind of our student trustee and.
Does the student trustee get anything now?
They may be getting 40.
I don't know. I don't pay. I don't
Is there
make out the checks.
is there an administrative procedure or anything else that maybe is missing?
Where's
from this?
Linda? She knows.
Is there something else where that would be written down? the $40? I'm just
So when
wondering
it
why it
calls-
didn't make it to here.
Payroll has something.
Payroll
Payroll
has
does.
some, yes.
I will definitely be asking payroll
Okay,
tomorrow about
okay.
all this.
Yep, okay.
I don't know, I'm perfectly happy to change it to 40, and then
And be
you
legal.
would, to correct it, I guess, to 40, and then the 120 would be increased if that's based on the same ratio. And then, to me, the only other issue would be what Raymond brought up, and I don't really have a strong feeling either way.
So on the full day of the meetings in excess of 6 hours, or 6 hours or more, we could do the full rate allowed by law on those days, something like that? Well, Megan and I will work on something that tries to blend what feedback you've given as well as our groups, and see if we can bring you back something in November that would be acceptable.
No COLA.
No COLA.
COLA plus one.
What do we need to do to move this to the second reading?
Make a motion.
I had one more question, if I
Oh.
may. On 2730?
Yep.
Without, you don't have to mention any names, but are there any former board members that are part of our health benefits program?
Yes.
I think one. I think
Oh,
one.
who did?
And then when that.
Without names.
Well, I'm just wondering if that paragraph then would probably disappear, or would it actually change? Because then if there was no former board members in would that second paragraph disappear then? Because it'd be hard for none of us would qualify for those three.
He was the last
criteria.
one.
Right, so I'm just, the former board member that's on this plan, once they're no longer on the plan, would that disappear? or
We
would
could
it-
just put his
or would
name
it
in there,
change?
make it easy.
Okay, all right, I'll ask you later, that's fine, sorry. I'll email you.
Yes, you're right. That would,
I just didn't know if the dates would change, or if it's just for that specific time period. But I'll ask, I don't want to delay the meeting.
Yeah, it's almost like that's complicated language. If it could go away, it'd be great, but if it still pertains, I guess it needs to stay in there, but it is awfully, it seems dated, but I'm not sure,
yeah, I think as long as we have someone
It needs to
participating,
stay.
it needs to stay.
Yeah, okay.
But good catch, Raymond.
No, I was just curious if it moved around.
I wasn't supposed to say his name.
Yeah, see, so
weren't
on
supposed to say his
travel,
name.
I thought on travel too, Brent, we need to look, because correct me if I'm wrong, Ken and Greg, I think on 2735, we set some limits on this one, on the travel.
Oh, on the
Board
travel?
member travel, even though none of us use it, I do think we set some, I can go back and look at my notes too. I
Yes,
may have
and-
it in my binder, but I thought we set limits on
In the
board
AP, I
travel.
believe there are, and you guys travel so infrequently.
I know, never, but it'd be nice to make sure that we agree with what's in here, so when we leave, we left something that we all
We'll
at
peek at
least.
that as well.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no other comments on that, entertain a motion to move to the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, as outlined. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? No. Passed unanimously to second reading.
And I can't move out of state, I guess, according to the last policy. I'll stay.
That's right. At least not out of the letter.
Yeah.
With that, we stand adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Get out with
everybody.
us.